Does anybody want to pray?
Oh, is this me? Cool.
No, not all at once.
Yo oro en español.
Wow,
Go
there's so
ahead.
many hands in the air. Everyone wants to volunteer.
Padre, en el nombre de Jesús te damos gracias, Señor, por este día, Señor, y en este día Alfredo va a dirigir la clase y te pido que tú pongas tu palabra en sus labios, Señor. También te pido que abran nuestros oídos para poder escuchar, nuestras mentes para entender y corazones para recibir. Glorifícate, Señor, en el nombre de Jesús. Amén.
Amen. You can make it bigger. I won't look. I promise.
What? No, that's fine. This is actually a little more comfortable for me because I get to see the whole thing instead of just like 2 sentences. Okay, so once upon a time, Jesus was teaching.
Ooh,
That's kind of where we're going to start. We're going to be in Luke 15 today. You thought I was joking.
No. Okay. You were serious. Okay. I see.
Do you know what's in Luke 15, Ellie?
Prodigal son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Luke 15:1. Sure, let's have anybody read it. Just I'm good with
Start
it.
with 1?
15:1. Yeah, 15:1 and 2.
Now the tax collectors and sinners were all gathering around to hear him. But the Pharisees and the teachers of the law muttered, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them."
Okay. So now, to kind of give you guys a little bit of a context of what's going on here. In the chapter before, in chapter 14, Jesus just went to the home of an important Pharisee to have dinner. On the way there, he decided to do a couple of miracles. It was the Sabbath, so they were already kind of looking at him a little bit funny. But once he gets to that Pharisee's home, they start talking about themselves about who should sit where. And Jesus gives them a really practical lesson in humility. I won't have you guys read it, but he pretty much said, listen, don't fight about sitting at the top of the table. Because if that's where the host didn't want you to sit, he's going to throw you at the end of the table, and now you're going to be embarrassed. Instead, sit at the bottom of the table, so that when he puts you up and brings you up to a more important spot, you feel a little bit more privileged. He does it in front of everybody. It's kind of a practical way of making yourself important. But that's also where he gives the parable about the banquet, where most of us will probably be familiar with it, where the owner of a large home decides he's going to give a banquet. He can't find people to fill it, so he just keeps calling more and more and more people. At the end, he literally starts calling the undesirables, quote unquote, right? So when we go back to 15, they're criticizing him because he sits and eats with them, with the sinners. The Pharisees in the context were so concerned with being right, they were missing the point that Jesus was trying to give them. We're going to see that all through 15. My dad once told me, he gave me that example. He said that he had a family member who, even though was going to church, was messing up. And my dad told me years after it happened, he said, I really messed up because the whole time that it was happening, I kept trying to find verses to show them they were wrong, instead of showing them a better way with the Bible. And this is one of the things that we'll notice the Pharisees do in this whole thing is they're more concerned in showing why certain behavior is wrong, or they're more concerned with being right than they are with what's actually happening. Starting in about verse 4, that's when Jesus ends up narrating 3 parables: the sheep, the coins, and the prodigal son. Now, usually whenever somebody's teaching on this, they'll focus on the prodigal son, right? Because of what it focuses on. What are some of the things you guys think the prodigal son focuses on, if you're familiar with the story?
Parents' love, talks talks about how is your home no matter what, that you should look past people's mistakes and at the person and the relationship you have with that person. That people make mistakes and they make bad decisions, but that doesn't make them any less worth having around.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, anybody else? No?
I think of the son that stayed behind a lot because I always feel like, well, I guess because I relate more with him
Okay.
because I was raised in the church and stuff. I just kind of relate more with the son that stayed behind, where you feel like you're overlooked because,
You didn't make the bad choice.
yeah, because you didn't have this great thing to repent from.
Okay. So yeah, the themes you see in the prodigal son, we see ignorance, we see wastefulness, we see somebody have that moment of lucidity, we see humility, we see redemption. There's a lot of themes. It's pretty much all the themes that we love to, love to hang on to as Christians. The thing is, though, when you look at chapter 15 and you focus on the prodigal son, we're doing kind of the same thing the Pharisees are doing, is we're separating it from the other three and we're missing the point as well. Okay? The parables were pretty much told together. They were told back to back. And there's a reason. It's because Jesus wanted to show the Pharisees how people get lost and how they should celebrate when they're actually found. He was trying to show he was trying to teach the Pharisees two things. And fortunately, they kept missing the point. We know this because the parables are all capped with a mirror image of how the Pharisees are acting in relation to these people. Can somebody read Luke 15, 4 through 7? This is the parable of the sheep.
Do you want to read it, Ryan? You want to read it?
Do it.
Only because you and I are the only ones with our Bibles out.
I have it in
Oh,
Spanish.
there you
I
go.
have
She's got it in Spanish.
Okay.
So,
Mine is busy.
yeah, that's what I said. Since I read last time. We'll take turns, me and you reading.
What verse?
15
Luke
4.
15, 4.
If a man has 100, 4 through 7?
Yes, please.
Okay. If a man has 100 sheep and one of them gets lost, what will he do? Won't he leave the 99 others in the wilderness and go search for the one that is lost until he finds it? And when he has found it, he will joyfully carry it home on his shoulders. When he arrives, he will call together his friends and neighbors, saying, "Rejoice with me, because I have found my lost sheep." In the same way, there is more joy in heaven over one lost sinner who repents and returns to God than over 99 others who are righteous and haven't strayed away.
Okay, so we're going to start with this one, the parable. They're nice and short, so we can hopefully get through all three of them.
Especially if he keeps being so quiet.
Well, I'm not picking on him, so I might actually be able to do it. So, in the parable, nice and short, the shepherd loses the sheep. There's two facets to this parable. How was the sheep lost? And who is responsible for that sheep's well-being? Okay, so we'll start with the first part. How was the sheep lost? Anybody?
It wandered away.
Okay, so the sheep wandered away.
Distraction.
Okay, now
It can be from both sides.
that's actually, yeah. Someone got distracted, and it may have been the shepherd. He's got 100 sheep, or it may have been the actual sheep who got distracted. If the sheep got distracted, that means the sheep put its heads down. It was just kind of eating. It was wandering, following one patch to another. Before you know it, it gets separated from the group. If the shepherd got distracted, it doesn't imply that he was being. We, as the sheep, can't let life distract us. And we can't let life keep us from keeping our eye on the shepherd. Really nice and simple little parable. Now, as far as the shepherd goes, he was either busy. He says the shepherd lost the sheep. And that's kind of a distinction I did want to make here, though, is that even though we say, well, maybe the sheep got distracted or maybe the shepherd got distracted, in the parable, Jesus puts the responsibility completely on the shepherd. It wasn't the sheep was being bad. It wasn't the sheep wasn't listening. It was a wild little sheep. No, the shepherd lost the sheep. And he doesn't say why. It could have been that he was busy with the other 99. He had too many things to do.
The reason why isn't the point.
It really isn't. Now, the thing is, in both instances, though, we see that there's no malicious intent, and it's not deliberate by either the sheep or the shepherd. It just happened. Life just takes over for both. Either way, the sheep failed to stay with the group. So, that's where we get to the point where Jesus puts the onus on the shepherd to find the sheep, not on the sheep to find the shepherd. In the parable, he is pretty much speaking to the Pharisees and what they are doing and what they should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
He's telling them how they should be reacting to sheep that they lose. And he's not blaming them for losing the sheep, but he's telling them, this is how you should react. When we get to Luke 15, 8 through 10. Samuel, why don't you read that one? You're already on your phone.
Actually,
Luke.
before you read it,
Yeah, go ahead. Please, make a point.
it is important to make a point there. Even if the sheep want it, sheep can come back. And that is important to understand. Even if the sheep want to come back, she's lost. That's the meaning. She's lost. She lost the way. It's like you said, it was the shepherd's responsibility, but the point is that the sheep is lost. The sheep can't come back. So the shepherd has to go. The shepherd cannot wait for the sheep. It's not like a dog. It will be back. No, the sheep is lost. It cannot find the way back. And it is important to mention, especially, and it is one of the reasons they ought to be like that, because the sheep can't.
Yeah, and
Sorry.
And the parable makes it clear that the shepherd leaves the rest of the sheep in the open country and goes looking for the other one. The sheep herder didn't move and left the sheep behind. He just lost the sheep. At some point they got separated. So it's not like the sheep herder just kept moving, put the other ones in a safe place, and then went looking for the other one. It's like he said, it got lost, and there's no way for it to reconnect unless the sheep herder goes out. The shepherd goes looking for it.
So Luke 18 verse
15.
Oh, 15. Sorry.
8:10. Yes, 15, 8, 10. And this is the parable of the coins.
Luke 15, 8 through 10. The parable of the lost coin. Or suppose a woman has 10 silver coins and loses one. Does she light a lamp, sweep the house, and search carefully until she finds it? And when she finds it, she calls her friends and neighbors and says, "Rejoice with me, I have found my lost coin." In the same way, I tell you, there's rejoicing in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who repents.
Okay. Now, Jesus is he's changing the parable. He's doing another parable, but he's keeping the same pattern. We have something lost and a reaction. So, how was the coin lost? In this story, the coin is lost. The coin didn't get distracted. It was either not cared for properly, or it was somehow neglected by the person who should have been taking care of it. Okay? So with this second parable, Jesus is showing us and the Pharisees, hey, this is the second way you are losing people. You are neglecting them. Now, when it comes to neglect, it's way more open than just distraction. Neglect can be as simple as someone failing to tell you about Jesus, whether it's a parent or someone who's responsible for you. Either way, you never learned and you were never taught. Your spiritual well-being was neglected. It could also be as severe as you were actually abused, whether it's domestic violence, sexual assault, or a traumatic event. You were you were neglected. Your well-being was neglected. You were neglected to the point of abuse. Now, when I throw this out there, I do want to make the caveat, though, that sometimes when we think of, oh, I was abused, or oh, I was the victim of abuse, it could very well be because of some kind of malicious intent from the other person. The other person absolutely got some joy out of that abuse. Having worked with victim services, with abused women, and just through my job, I can say, at least in a personal experience, I noticed that most abuse in this kind of neglect happens because the person doing it, inflicting the abuse or being neglectful, they've got things that they haven't worked out on their own. Sometimes the abuse isn't anybody's fault, it just happens. When we look at 2 Samuel 4:4, if you guys want to go to it, that's fine. I can kind of give you a little bit of a rundown. That's the story of how Mephibosheth becomes lame in both feet. To give you a little bit of context in this, I'm just going to call him Bo, because that's a really long name. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna start calling him everything but his name. So,
Bo Burnham.
In 2 Samuel, we see this is when David becomes king of Israel. Now, during these few chapters of 2 Samuel, David becomes king of Israel, and his men do what his men figured they should do. They kill almost everybody from Saul's house, the previous king. That's extremely customary to do so. That is something you always did. If you were the new king, one of the first things you did was wipe out the old house so nobody had a claim to it. It pretty much squashes any type of possibility of either a civil war, some kind of revolution, or the kid who grows up and wants to take revenge. You just pretty much get rid of that kind of thing. Now, David actually gets angry that this happens. He didn't want that to happen, but he never said, don't make it happen. He gets angry at his men for doing so. If we look at 2 Samuel 9:3. Sure, go ahead and read 2 Samuel 9:3.
The king asked, "Is there no one still left of the house of Saul to whom I can show God's kindness?" Ziba answered the king, "There is still a son of Jonathan. He is crippled in both feet."
So, David is angry because David understood that Saul had been made the king by God. And he wanted to honor God's decision to have made Saul king, but also honor God's decision to make him king now. So he asks, is there anybody that you guys left alive? And pretty much they tell him, it's like, well, there was the one guy, but he's kind of a cripple. So David ends up calling him to court. 2 Samuel 9:11. He says pretty much, hey, go fetch this guy, bring him over here, and that's Mephibosheth.
Do you want me to read that?
Sure, somebody. 2 Samuel 9:11. You got it there, honey?
Yep. Then Ziba said to the king, "Your servant will do whatever my lord the king commands to his servant to do." So Mephibosheth ate at David's table like one of the king's sons.
Now, I think in 11, your servant, I think I skipped it. It was a little bit higher up. When he ends up calling him, Mephibosheth pretty much falls in front of David and he says, well, I'm here, but what do you want from me? I'm crippled.
Mephibosheth bowed down and said, "What is it, your servant, that you should notice a dead dog like me?"
Mm-hmm. A dead dog like me. So he's like, I'm broken, why me? Now, story keeps on going. David ends up restoring him to the honor of Saul's old house that God had placed on him. That whole thing is like a whole preaching on its own. But in 2 Samuel 4:4 is when we find out how was he broken. And it just so happens that when when he was younger, his nursemaid is trying to flee with him and ends up dropping him. And that's how he pretty much became crippled.
Tragedy.
Yeah. Did she drop him on purpose?
No.
Well, likely not. Either way, though, he ended up broken for life. So sometimes being lost by neglect can be deliberate and malicious, but it's not necessarily always the case. It just so happens that hurt people hurt people. You guys have heard this one before. That the person caring for us was dealing with things, and we were the outlet, not the cause of the abuse. So sometimes being broken isn't your fault. A lot of the times being broken isn't your fault. But it is always on you to try and fix it. It's just one of those things. You didn't cause it, but you got to fix it. As I mentioned in the talk about forgiveness, the Bible calls us multiple times to forgive, to lay it down, to deny ourselves, to give it up to Him, to let Him fight the battle. We are responsible for forgiveness, for healing that brokenness, even though it may not necessarily lead to reconciliation. Again, we already kind of went over that. Not going to touch on it too much. So, the coin was lost because of neglect. Now, who should be looking for the coin?
The person who lost it?
The person who lost the coin. Can the coin make its way back to the purse?
No.
Can the coin find its way back to the purse?
No.
So again, here we see Jesus placing the responsibility on the person whose job or whose responsibility was to take care of the coin. So the woman who lost the coin, she's responsible for lighting a lamp, sweeping the house. Again, and again we see him talking to the Pharisees about how this should be happening. You lost the coin. This time you lost it because you were neglectful. You go looking for the coin. And when you find the coin, you're supposed to be happy that you found the coin. Same thing with the guy and the sheep. You're supposed to be happy that you found the sheep. Yes. So again, we see him speaking to the Pharisees about this is what you're doing wrong. This is how you should be reacting.
Okay, so I've got a weird question.
Okay.
So when you're looking at these parables as in the way you're describing them, right? So like the sheep, was distracted, got lost, but they can't find their way back by themselves. The woman lost the coin. It obviously can't make its way back to herself. Who in today's society, in today's world, is that shepherd, is that woman? Who's got that responsibility?
It should be the pastor. It should be the other members of the church. It should be a friend. It should be another Christian. Now, mind you, here he's telling this to the Pharisees because they're the ones griping about, well, why are you sitting with them, and why are you being nice to the sinners? Why are you sitting with the sinners? Why are you? And he's telling them this is why, because this is what we're called to do. Now, mind you, in all of these parables, it starts off with the sheep, the coin, and the prodigal son being a part of the home. In none of these does he go find a wild sheep and tame it. In none of these does she go to somebody else's house and find a coin or finds a coin on the street. In none of the son, he starts off as the son. He's not just some dude, hey, this guy seems kind of nice. In all of them, these people are already part of the body. Now, you can debate, or we can kind of debate a little bit of whether he's talking about this is the way the body should treat believers who leave or believers who get lost. But we can also make an argument that the reason he was talking to the Pharisees is because he was trying to tell the Pharisees that, hey, this applied more to the Jewish people. We are all, if you're the leaders or the spiritual guidance of the Jewish people, then they all started being Jewish. You should go looking for those Jews that get lost and bring them back to what it is to serve God. you should be bringing them back to God. So you can debate how it applies either directly when he was talking to the Pharisees and how it applies to us now. I personally think that it applies not just to Christians who get separated from the body, but because he does make it a point to mention it. The saying, there will be more rejoicing in heaven over one sinner who repents. So he's not talking about someone who comes back. He's talking about someone who gets found. So he's layering it on there. He's telling the Pharisees, this is how you should be treating your people, your Jewish people who have lost their way from God. But it also kind of applies to us with, this is how we should be treating not just people who get lost from the church, but new people that get found.
I think that there is something that we don't see it, but we are assuming it. We are assuming that because these people is in the house, they are believers. Not just because they are in the house, they are not necessarily believers. He's been clear. That verse that you read, he's defining loss. That's what he's doing. So every time you see loss in the parables, that's the definition you need to understand, to use. Christ is giving you the definition of the word loss, and this is important to us today, because we assume, and that was very good that you did it. We assume that because someone is sitting next to us at church, he or she is safe. It can be lost in the house, and that's the case of all three. They are in the house, they are lost in the house, and we need to reach out. He's doing the perfect, but answering your question, that person is you, that person is him, that person is me. It's not just to the pastor. It's just we need to reach out to the lost. That's it.
And again, with the parables, he kind of covers all three, because you have the sheep who was lost and was part of the flock, and you can say that like the flock in general. But where did the coin get lost? She lost the coin in the house. And who was the son but part of? He was a part of the actual family. So he's pretty much covering all his ground.
That's what
he's saying. Listen, it doesn't matter how they get lost or where they were where they got lost.
The point is,
and he's kind of covering all the bases. And again, at the end, and he does, at the end of the one in the coins, in verse 7, he says, I tell you, in the same way that there will be more rejoicing in heaven over one sinner who repents. At the end of the parable of the coins, in the same way I tell you, there is rejoicing in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who repents. He makes it a point to say that it's a sinner who repents. But, again, Jesus being who he is, he layers it to where it's a sinner who repents, but they were already part of your community, part of your flock, part of your house, part of your family. He covers both bases. So, and I told you I was going to do it. 15:11, the parable of the lost son. Now,
Samuel,
we're gonna get to the part of how the son. Everybody's kind of pretty much familiar with the story. We can read it over if you really want to, but we'll get to the part of how the son was lost and who was responsible. We'll get to that in a minute. What I really want to do with this one is I want to flesh out the actual characters in this one. And the first person that I want to flesh out is the father. Now, what can you guys tell me about the father? And now, mind you, if you've been in church for more than a year, you've heard a preaching on this one, we already know who he metaphorically represents, we already know this stuff. I want you to give me context of who the father is as a person. Not who he represents, but
he's wealthy.
Who he is as a person.
He's very wealthy.
Absolutely. That is definitely on my list. And we know he's wealthy because he has livestock. We know for a fact, just from the text, he's got cows, he's got goats, he's got several servants, he's got extra clothing and jewelry just laying around. And we also see that his sons expect an inheritance from him. Okay? Not only do they expect an inheritance from him, giving away half of his estate didn't seem to bug him at all. That's how rich this guy is. Like, give me my half. There you go. Didn't even faze him. Then we see that the inheritance that he gave the son was enough for the youngest son to be away from home for a while. We know this because he spent it. It says that then he just kind of hung out in that land. Eventually a famine came on that land. And eventually he went down even worse than just being broke. So he was away. And then at some point he goes, hey, I remember. He actually forgot what it was like to be at home. So he was away for a very long time. And besides feeding some pigs, he never had a job. And he didn't have a job until he ran out of money. Broke. So what's another thing you guys can tell me about the father?
He manages the house because of the other son. He's like, I always been with you, and you never did gave me what the cabrito.
A goat. Yeah.
Yeah, goat too. So I guess he kind of taught them to work the land.
Okay.
Or to manage the land.
Yeah. No. It's like you guys are reading my bullets, honestly. Really, in order. But yes, I have.
We can see it from here.
Yeah. The characteristic that I said for him was he knew how to manage what he had, and he managed it strictly. Now, I came up with strict. Why? Because right off the bat, we see that the youngest son feels like he can't be himself at home. Give me my money so I can leave and I can do my own thing. So dad had rules, and those rules were followed. We also see it in the eldest son. Why? Because he feels like he has no freedom at home. I can't even have a goat. So dad knew how to manage the land. Dad knew how to manage his belongings, but it is also clear that he had very strict and set expectations for his sons, to the point where they didn't even bother just asking, hey, can I do this? Can I do that? They went to drastic measures. Give me my stuff and I'm leaving, or I can't do anything in here without permission. So, does anybody have anything else they want to add on the father?
I mean, he was loving. I mean,
There
he
you go.
takes his,
That's the right word.
he's loving. He takes him back. I mean, without question, without hesitation. I mean, he might have been strict, but at the same time, and also, not only was he loving to his kids, he was also kind to his servants, because the son remembers, oh, my dad's servants are well treated, and so he was respectful to not only his family but to his employers. He was a great employer.
You hit the nail. One of the issues that we have, especially today, is that we don't understand what actually love is. We believe we don't understand love. We don't understand freedom. We live today. Freedom is I can do whatever I want. That's not freedom. You are abusing freedom, and a love without discipline and restrictions is not love. So when we start thinking that the people who let us do whatever we want, they love us, the only reason we can do whatever we want is because they don't care about us.
Exactly.
And we are misguided like that. And that's actually, he pointed in the story. That's what's going on. Nor of the sons understood love, like you said. And that is the problem that we have today. We have it at church, we have it at home, we have it in family. That's the problem we have. We don't understand love. That's why we cannot relate with God, and we cannot relate between each other. I'm sorry, go for it.
No, that's perfectly said. Yeah, and it's true. We don't understand love. And I mean, I can go on a whole rant about how modern music and modern movies, and when I say modern, I'm talking like the last maybe 100, 150, 200 years. The way they've kind of framed love to be this feeling, this passion, this thing that's like, oh, you find your soulmate. There's no such thing as a soulmate. And I'll fight you on that one. There's no such thing as my perfect person. There isn't.
I'm kidding.
I know.
Are you?
Yes. Oh, we've had this conversation a lot. Trust me. And yeah, there is no such thing as like this perfect person that God perfectly made just for you. And
That's just not how that works.
listen, the easiest way that I can kind of say or kind of prove that it's not even true is because, okay, so that if just one person marries the wrong person, they just messed it up for hundreds of people.
Yep.
So either God's really good at changing plans, or He just doesn't have that. That's not the way it's supposed to
I
work.
think he gives us
It is.
options.
It isn't. It isn't the way it's supposed to work. But anyway, so we've got a pretty clear definition of what characteristics of the father. Now, can you guys give me any traits for the youngest son?
Impatient.
Ambitious.
Ambitious?
I'm a bit ambitious, brash, rash.
Rash, te doy. Ambitious?
I don't think he
No.
was ambitious either. I don't see it.
Because-
He went and spent the money.
Right. If he was ambitious, he would have had a goal. He would have had taken
Greedy?
that money
Maybe.
and made
Greedy?
something with
Okay.
it.
Greedy, lazy.
Okay.
But ambitious, someone ambitious is just
He wants more.
exactly.
I like
Once
his
more.
second word, rash.
I like-
he was
What's
rash.
What's rash?
There's a part of ambitious that I kind of agree with, but I wouldn't say ambitious.
Okay, so
What
part of ambitious?
So the first trait that I put up for the youngest son, at least that I came up with, was he thinks he can do better than what he has at home.
Uh-huh. That's kind of what I meant by ambitious. is
Yes.
He.
But I wouldn't
thinks
use
he can-
ambitious because ambitious says I've got a goal. I can do better. Not I can do better. I can build or I can make what I have way
Right.
better than what it is.
Fair enough.
It's
And he
it's
didn't
growing
want it.
what you got, and he didn't want to grow what he had. He
No.
wanted to enjoy what he was gonna get.
Fair enough.
So
I think he was unrealistic.
That's definitely a word.
ignorance.
Yeah, he was ignorant.
that would
That's what I was
that is
thinking.
kind of part of the second point that I did put in here. He wasn't realistic. The way that I phrased it was he wasn't paying attention to what his father did or did not teach him. He wasn't paying attention to dad, because if he was paying attention to dad, he would have known how to manage that money. If he was paying attention to dad, he would have known that you can't just squander it the way that he squandered it. And I think in this one, it was a little bit of a jab at the Pharisees. It's like,
The whole thing is a
it's
jab.
like no, I know, but in this one, it's like, hey, he wasn't
They were
paying attention.
greedy.
He thinks he can do better than what God set up or Dad set up. You guys think you're doing way better with what God's given you than what He had already set up. You guys are squandering it.
That goes with that he didn't have discernment.
He didn't. He didn't have
He didn't have
discernment.
discernment.
Nope.
Which is why I like the word rash.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
It just kind of fit,
So,
right?
anybody got anything else on the youngest son?
I think he was,
Immature.
yeah,
Absolutely.
immature, naive,
Foolish.
naive,
Naive.
just,
So some things that I this is an expression is not Christian. I think this is, I don't remember, it's the Navy SEALs use it. They said tough men create
tough situations.
hard
right?
times
Situations.
create
Yeah.
tough men.
Right.
Tough men create good times. Good time create
Easy
weak men, and that's what we see in the
Yeah.
in the parable. So we have a father with a character that was built. We don't have anything on the background, but the character is being built. So he's been go through life to certain things because character is developed actually trials, tribulations, adversity. There is no other way. What we see in the sons, they were protected. Obviously, by the rules, the discipline of the father is being protected them to the point that their character is not developed. None of them. I'm talking about none of them is because one of the points I've been holding back to see if Alfredo mentioned it, because the truth is both sons are lost. It's not just the prodigal; they are both lost. One is lost living, and the other one is lost staying. But they are both lost in the same place, and they have the same issue. Their character is not being developed, and we can tell by that the father's rules, they're being protecting them, and they don't even know it. But I'm gonna pass the class to you.
And then he has weak character. Was it? Is he influential? Because he was seeing the stuff from the world.
he was influenced.
Influence.
Influenced by the world.
No, it's
No influences like when
no, yes, but well, it's yeah.
Dilo en español.
Que se deja influenciar por otros.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
He was influenced by the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah, he thought it would be easier and more fun by being out. Because we know Dad put them to work, because in verse 25 we see the older son was in the field. He made them bust their butts.
Yep.
So
But I like that Jorge's thought where, and I guess I've never looked at it that way, as the dad overly protected them from the world. To the point where they were naive of what.
I'm going to
That's
say,
not what I meant.
I'm going to say the parable never says that he was overprotecting them. And I think it's vague in that sense, because sometimes when people are overprotected, they think, oh, I can do better. Sometimes they'll think it regardless.
Right.
What I tried
Not
to
wrong.
say, let me elaborate a little more on that. This is what I tried to say. Let me bring God into the scenario so you will understand better what I mean. So sometimes we are going through life, and it's actually God's word in our heart that protects us from things, and we don't even realize it. It's not like He's over and protecting you. It's just what He designed is doing what it's supposed to do, and we don't acknowledge it. So I'm putting the fault not in the Father, in the sons. Do that make sense? The Father built a place when they could grow, learn, prosper, get discipline. They didn't see it.
Right.
The son, as Alfredo is saying, thought I do it better out of home. I'm leaving. The other says he is too strict. I've been doing and I'm not acknowledged. But whose fault it is? Because the Father built everything, and if you hear to the words of the Father, all this
Is
is
yours.
yours. So He didn't build them for Him. Do that make sense? Hey, do that make sense?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
absolutely.
Go for it.
No, you're good. So we've kind of already touched on a bunch of the characteristics that I wanted to touch on the oldest son. He can't seem to let go of what his brother did. He can't forgive his brother for what he did.
I honestly think he represents the Pharisees a lot.
And no, that's exactly who he represents, because to the oldest son, loyalty is more important, is what matters most, to the point where even loyalty matters a little bit more than love. Doesn't matter that he's my brother, doesn't matter that I love him. He left, and he left with the money.
Your son.
Your son, he took your money and he squandered it, and you're just gonna let him come back? Shouldn't he have? He's implying, shouldn't there be some kind of consequence for him? He's angry and he's jealous.
Bitter.
And now his
Just like the
his
Pharisees.
inheritance is shorter because now the father received the son, and he will have the inheritance probably.
Well, we're assuming he's
we're
gonna
assuming
split the
that
half
yeah,
in half.
yeah.
Instead of, no, you already spent yours, you don't get it.
Yep.
Now, me personally, I think that is very much going to say, hey, you already got your half, buddy, I'm sorry. You get to live here, and if we get more, I'll give you more, but your brother gets what's left at this
Your
point.
brother gets the original
you-
half.
Yeah.
You get what's left over.
You got yours. Okay.
Yeah, I personally think that the Father would do that. Why? Because the Father, in everything we've seen, has character and is just and is fair. He never says, well, you know, it's like you just got to let him go. We see the oldest son be bitter. And like you said, he ends up bitter because, well, he got to go do all the fun stuff with no consequence. And I've been here the whole time. He should have a consequence. That's kind of the way that I feel he ends up saying it. And yes, he's meant to absolutely stand for the Pharisees in the parable. Now, let's go ahead and get here. So, how was the youngest son lost? This is
By
an easy
choice.
one. By choice. We see the third way Jesus showing us here of how people get lost, and it's by choice. He made deliberate choices to reject the rules of his Father's house.
Mm-hmm.
Why he made those choices, we can.
never
I mean,
know.
well, no, it's,
We can assume it's,
We can
it's,
assume.
Yes.
it's some things in
we
there.
can
but-
assume because of what he ended up doing when he left. I can do better than what my dad's got here. And then the first thing he went and did is he went partying. He went and it's pretty clear he got himself a bunch of prostitutes.
Yep.
So we know that he was prideful. Like we said, he was rash. He rejected the values that Father had tried to teach him. So, again, he was lost though by choice. No one forced him. No one forced us. No one makes us do these things. We just decide that we're not going to do it God's way, period. It's our own sinful nature, the way that he's been talking about for weeks. It's our own minds and our own hearts that we just decide, nah, I'm good.
Do you know what is missing there in the whole story? Jesus never mentioned the devil.
No,
No.
Not even once. He-
no, and
he-
that's a
it's-
really key thing,
it's
and one of the
key.
things that is
He's
that
pinning responsibility in people.
people they're the responsible ones. Was there stuff out there that maybe distracted them in the sheep? Maybe
Absolutely.
so there's always a distraction, but there's never something that forces you. It's always us. Now, who should have been out looking for the son?
The dad.
No, nobody. Jesus makes it really clear in this one. In the parable, who goes out looking for the lost son?
No one.
Nobody.
Because it's not
When
like
someone
this.
gets distracted, hey buddy, you're a little distracted. When someone gets neglected, hey, I know you're hurting.
When someone
When
chooses.
someone makes that choice, I'm pretty sure Jesus isn't saying you shouldn't look for them. What I'm pretty sure he's kind of telling us is, even if dad went over there, mijito, you got to come back. Mijito, you're messing up.
No,
Mijito. And the Bible, Paul does later on go on and say, if someone doesn't want to listen to you, or you try to make amends with the brother, if he doesn't listen, bring a witness. If he doesn't listen, pa fuera.
That's Christ. Actually,
You're
we
done.
can, we can go beyond. I agree with the first statement more than the last one. It's true. Jesus don't explain that nobody had to go. You just see how meticulous he is during these three parables. In the first two, he actually said that the leader is responsible for. In this one, the father didn't went. He didn't say anyone. He didn't send anyone.
Nope.
And this is consistent. Actually, Paul take this 3 notches higher and say, you know what? Just deliver it to Satan. So his flesh is destroyed, but he can be saved. And that's what we see here. What the father let him go. This is my question. Do you think the father didn't know the end of the story? Somehow,
Well, the earthly father, I'm sure, prayed over it and cried over it.
but do you understand what I'm going? Actually, I'm talking about what do you think happened to a person? Because see, I'm talking about the early father with wisdom. These men have wisdom. What do you think happened to an immature person when you give him money? Exactly what you see in the story. He will expend it.
Right.
So the father knew that. What happened when you expend money? You go into crisis.
What happens when you get into crisis? You come home.
You come home. That's what the crisis does. That's one of the biggest purposes of crisis. It's gonna kick your fantasy out and it's gonna bring your reason back.
Yeah.
You know what? I was wrong.
Yeah.
Pride goes to the floor. I was wrong.
Yeah, and again, not the father, not the brother, not the servants. Nobody goes looking for him. It's on the son. It's on the son to find his way back. No one can accept God on our behalf. No one is going to change our minds for us.
Does Matthew,
We have to make our own decision.
Matthew 7:6 relates, lo que busca en español. No deis lo santo a los perros, ni echéis vuestras perlas delante de los cerdos.
Don't throw your pearls to swine. That is very much a verse. Yeah, and it's yeah. Don't waste wisdom on people who aren't going to accept it. Yeah.
Well, there's the whole, I mean, it's throughout Proverbs as well, you know. Don't argue with the fool, because that just
But we
makes you the fool,
But
right?
we
Did you
still do
forget
it.
the verse right next to that, Mom?
Which one?
Do not argue with the fool, because then they are right in their own light.
Yeah.
That is literally the verse right next to it. Everyone
I'd
forgets
rather
that.
them,
The point is not argue with the fool. The point is there's never winning against a fool.
Yeah.
The only person who can change their mind is themselves. And even then, the issue of a fool is that they think they're never wrong.
Do you ever pay attention what that word means actually in Hebrew?
fool,
Fool.
Someone who lacks wisdom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not someone who's dumb.
It's
It's someone
dumb.
who
It's
lacks
Right.
someone
wisdom.
it's someone immature, someone who lacks wisdom, someone who lacks discernment, and that is important. It is important because at the moment we are talking to someone, and this applies to family, especially to family. I apply that to family. Once in the moment I enter into a conversation and I see that the wisdom is not there,
if you're not listening, it's pointless.
no. The wisdom is not there. The
The maturity,
is not there. I pull out of the conversation. It's a waste of time.
yeah.
So, at the end of this, though, we do see that the interesting thing between the first two parables and then this third parable is in the first two, Jesus shows them how they should be reacting. Should rejoice, should be happy. And in this one, he shows them what they're actually doing. Jesus makes it a point to show the Pharisees of how they're actually acting. You're the older brother. You're the one going, oh, now that he squandered the money with prostitutes, I'm supposed to be happy? So he's bookending
The trilogy of parables.
the trilogy of parables, but in all of them we see this is how people get lost. This is how you should react. And then at the last one, gives them the little gem. So
This is you.
us, we need to be careful not to become lost by either getting distracted by our hurts, but letting our hurts consume us, or by making the wrong choices. We need to be careful also about how we react when someone comes back to church or comes back to God. We can't be critical about somebody who's barely starting their journey or someone who left the journey and is coming back. We should be absolutely happy that they're back, is what we should.
It's not our job.
No. Now, I got 3 minutes.
I have a question.
Okay.
Don't worry, you can take 5 after. Don't get stressed. This is my question. What is the common denominator between all 3 parables? I don't know if you had that point in your slide. There is Christ is making a solid point, a little beyond what he is explaining. What is the common denominator in those 3 parables?
Well, I mean, I think there's several. So there's the one that Fred's already mentioned, right? That they're all lost, but they're all within the family, the church, the flock, the.
I guess
Right.
like always I frame my question wrong in English, so don't worry. He's speaking about worth.
Yeah.
He start first with property, sheep. This is the worth. Remember, he's speaking to the Pharisees.
Right.
These people is greedy.
Right.
So first he's speaking about property.
Something you could make money on.
Then he's speaking about currency,
Something that's actually money.
and now he's speaking about people.
Someone's family.
Make sense? And this is what Christ. This is the point underneath that Christ is making to them. You don't have any issues with property. You don't have any issue with currency, but you have so many issues with people. And people worth more than all the rest of the thing.
Yeah.
And
And they're worth more
And
to the
it-
Father, because that's
it's-
who he puts
it's
at the
exactly
end, at the
this-
last one.
and that sounds simple, but even today in church, we are missing this.
Yeah.
That we are not there for a building, we are not there for a ministry, we are not there for fame, to get names. We are here for people.
Yeah.
That's what we are here. We're here for people, and we cannot miss that, because if we miss it, we're gonna end like them, focusing property, focusing currency, and neglecting people. But this is your class. I'm sorry.
Great way to end it, actually. We have less than a minute.
Go for it.
Just enough to give you guys your homework.
Okay.
Who do you think? Who do
Ya
you
se
think?
acabó el tiempo.
Yep. Who do you think turned out better in the end? The younger son or the older son? And why?
Personal opinion.
Young.
Young.
You think the younger one ended up better?
I did.
Okay.
That was the alarm.
Shower alarm.
I know.
Sorry.
That's 7 o'clock. So yeah, that's the fun little exercise I always have with that one is who turned out better then? The youngest one or the oldest one?
I personally believe that the younger one.
You think the younger one?
Yeah, he repent. I mean,
Well, yeah, because at the end of the story, you don't see the older son actually recognizing the truth.
Oh no, I know we don't see. Yeah, you don't see like the full end. I'm talking about in the end, maybe years later. Who's off better? The oldest, the youngest, or the oldest?
Lucas 7:47 en Spanglish. ¿No?
Yeah.
Por lo cual te digo que sus muchos pecados le son perdonados porque amó mucho, pero aquel a quien se le perdona poco, poco ama. So, the younger. So the younger.
it's my wife, remember?
Okay.
Okay. Mándale tarea que para ella es el video.
Ya le mandé la tarea. Ah, era video el que estás grabando.
Sí.
Ah, mira, lo que no quería. Bueno, ya que. Bueno, no, ya le mandé la tarea.
Ahí está.
Ahí está, pues.
Entonces,
Who wants to close? Anybody?
ahí open. All right.
I know nobody else is going to offer.
Amén, aleluya.
Heavenly Father, we just thank you and we praise you, Lord, for all that you've taught us and all that you are teaching us, Lord. Help us to not be the Pharisees, to not be distracted, to not lose sight of that which you've given us. Help us to stay focused on you and to reach out to those who we may have lost sight of. We thank you, Lord, for everything that you're doing. Continue to be with us throughout this week. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Man.
Amen.
All right.